Today, we're going to talk about the power of being the change you want to see in others. Too many times we live in glass houses and want to throw rocks. You know what happens when you live in a glass house and you try and throw rocks at other people? They start throwing rocks back at you and it'll break the windows, it'll break the side of your house, and it will destroy your house. So that's the consequence of living in a glass house and then want to provocate or want to go out there and throw rocks at others. So today we're going to talk about the power of being the change that we want to see in others. And to illustrate that, I'm going to share a story. The story is entitled The Boy with Sweets. One day, a mom brought her son to Mahatma Gandhi for some advice. They had to stand in a very long line because there were so many people wanting to talk to Mahatma Gandhi. They finally made their way all the way through the long line to the very front of the line, and she got to speak to Mahatma Gandhi. She looked at Mahatma Gandhi and said, "Mahat, would you tell my son, please, to stop eating sweets? He's been eating sweets. It's going to ruin his teeth. It's going to ruin his health. It's going to ruin his education. It's going to ruin his family. It's going to ruin his life. Could you please tell my son to stop eating sweet?" Mahatma Gandhi looks at the mom and said, "Could you have him come back in 2 weeks?" They left. 2 weeks later, the mom comes back and they walked all the way through the line. There was a long line again to see Mahatma Gandhi. They finally got to the very front of the line. And when they got to the very front of the line, the mom looked at Mahatma Gandhi and said, "2 weeks ago, you told us to come back. I was the one who was complaining because my son has been eating sweets. And I told you to tell him to stop eating sweets. And you told me to come back in 2 weeks." Mahatma Gandhi looks at her and said, "I remembered." He pointed his finger at the young man and said, "Stop eating sweets. Stop eating sweets." The mom, being very confused and perplexed at this moment, looks at Mahatma Gandhi and said, "Why couldn't you have told him that 2 weeks ago?" Mahatma Gandhi looks at her in a very firm way and replied, "2 weeks ago, I could not have told your son that because 2 weeks ago, I myself was eating sweets. I had to master not eating sweets in order to tell your son not to eat sweets." A lot of times in life, what we do, we want to go out and we want to tell others what they need to do. We want to chastise and we want to judge others on what they are doing when we ourselves haven't worked on us. We want relationships and we want people to love us. We want people to care about us. We want people to do things for us, but we ourselves are not capable of doing it for other people as well. The good book says, in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend. And a lot of us, we want to have friends, but we don't want to be friends. We don't want to stop and then go back and work on ourselves. Go back and look at our inadequacies. Go back and look at our failures. Go back and look at the things that we need to work on personally. Our personality traits, the different things that we have, the different practices that we do. And deal with those in order to foster great relationships. We don't want to go back and make sure that we increase our skill sets and we learn to do our jobs better and we apply the time that we are away from our work when we get home at 5 to learning and to growing. But yet we want our bosses to give us raises. We want huge raises when we know that we're not doing everything with a spirit of excellence. We want our parents to love us and care for us when we know we're not doing our chores, when we know we're not performing well at school, when we know we're not keeping our end of the bargain. A lot of times we have promises that we make with friends and promises that we make with relatives and promises that we make to our co-workers and our employees and promises that we make in different areas of our lives, and we don't keep those. And because we don't keep those, and yet we want people to react, and we want people to love us, and we want people to care for us, and we want people to do things for us in a way that we want it. But you see, in order to truly embrace and in order to truly enjoy life, you have to truly be the change that you want to see in others. You have to truly go out there and work on yourself, work on your discipline, work on those habits that you have every day, work on those idiosyncrasies. If you want to learn how to harvest apples or how to grow apples, you'll take every single day and learn about apples. You'll learn about the soil. You'll learn about how to grow apples. You'll learn about what diseases apples may have and how to prevent those diseases. You know how to deal with pests and different things that will attack an apple tree. You know what will cause the apple tree to produce the right fruit and with the right flavor. You learn all of that and then you apply all of that. That's the same thing when it comes to our work or relationships or anything that we do. You learn about things that you're not contributing to your relationships and then you make a change. So many times what we want to do, we want our cake and we want to eat it at the same time. You can't go out and just have fun and do whatever you want and still maintain a relationship or maintain work. You can't just go out and party all night and not learn anything and then show up to work and do a mediocre work and then all of a sudden you expect a big fat raise or a big fat bonus at the end of the year or a quarterly bonus. You can't get that if you're not contributing, if you're not working on yourself, if you're not working on you. You see, if you go out there and cultivate the right habits every single day and you work on those habits and increase your skill set and increase the person that you are, learn to communicate if you're not a good communicator, learn to be emphatic, to be emotionally loving and caring if you're not that type of a person. Learn to show empathy. Learn to be that person that asks about others and to concerned about others. Learn that life, it has to be lived just like that of an ant. Learn that you can't just party or eat your seeds, because everything that you make and you eat it, then you're going to be eating up your harvest. A lot of times you don't have a harvest because you eat up your seeds. And because you eat up your seeds, then you get mad at others because they're being blessed. You get mad at others because they're sowing their seeds and they're getting blessed, because you don't want to make the necessary changes in your life. You want to live in the now. You want to live in the now moment. You want to go out there and have fun 24/7 and neglect the responsibilities of life. And then you get mad at others because they're thriving. You get mad at others because you're succeeding. You get mad at others because they're growing. But you see, you have to be the change that you want to see in others. If you start working on yourselves, if you start cultivating positive habits, if you start going out there and nurturing yourself, then what happened? You yourselves will start changes. Those idiosyncrasies that you have, those problems that you have that are fostering within you, that are foaming up within you, that is causing you to use drugs and use alcohol and use all of that stuff to hold them down, you'll start dealing with those. And as you start dealing with those addictions that you have will start falling off. They will start falling off. You ever start seeing, like, I had goats when I was little, and when I had goats, one time they all had ticks. And ticks were all over one of my goats, and what I did, I got them medicine. And when I gave them the medicine I didn't go around picking off the ticks off the goat. I just gave them the medicine. And by giving the medicine, by the goat being able to take care of the goat, and then it working from the inside out, what happened, those ticks will suck on the blood. And when that medicine started going through their system and going through their blood system, in a few days, there was no ticks on them. They all fell off and died. Because you see, the fact is, when you start working on yourself and you start transforming yourself from the inside out, other people will start seeing you. Other people will start seeing the changes about you. You start smelling like a rose instead of smelling like a skunk. Your personality, the energy, the vibe that you give off is totally different, and it attracts attracts a different bunch of people. It attracts people of like mind. It attracts people who say, wow, there's something different about that person. There's something that radiates out of them that's life, and I'm attracted to that. You see, that's what I'm talking about. When you go out there and you be the change that you want to see in others, instead of complaining about the system, go out there and work on you. Go out there and transform you. It's the beginning of the year. You know, if you're not healthy, start eating healthy. If you're not exercising, start exercising. If you're not reading, start reading every day. If you're not learning or growing your mind, start doing that every day. Don't worry about anybody else. Just focus on you. Focus on you. If you are in a troubled relationship, so in a troubled spot, stop looking at what happened. You can't change it. If you are without a job, you can't change that either. You see, you can't change the past, but you can truly make an impact on the future. And the only way you're going to make that impact on the future is that you have to make concrete steps that you take every day. Goal steps that you take every day. Marching orders that you give yourself every day. And make sure whatever that you choose, those steps are smart. Those steps are done in such a way that they are feasible. Those steps are done in such a way that they are realistic. Those steps you do a little bit at a time. How do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And I want to encourage you today to go out there and work on you. Go out there and work on the transformation of you. If it's going to be, it's up to me. Go out and work on yourself. And just remember, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. Go out and practice the power of being the change that you want to see in others. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button below. Hit the subscribe button below. And also, when you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to select the bell, because by selecting the bell, it gives you that wonderful opportunity to be notified whenever I add a new video. And also, can you please do me a favor? When you watch this video, hit the like button, please, so that I know that you're watching it and that you're liking it. I could see the views, but I want to see you liking it. So then I know that the content is really benefiting you and the content is really blessing you. God bless you.